Okay, I just dropped the server.
Great.
Yeah.
There was it comes in and out sometimes. Is that Skype or the server?
No, the server seemed to be good. The connection problem seemed to be between you and me.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I thought it went pretty well. We covered
but there weren't
a
lot of complaints in chat.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think it went well too, man. You're a great guest. You got great information, man. It's just incredible.
Yeah, it's hard to believe a lot of this stuff. I mean, there was other people I didn't even cover like Arthur Clarke and.
That's right.
I mean, you can get into Clarke. You can get into a lot of his stuff has like numerical occult connections. Even in what's Clarke's stuff? I got shoot.
Well, Rez, before you get going, I'm going to record this, and we could do a little after show with this 15-minute overtime you got. Okay. But what do you have on Arthur C. Clarke?
Well, he put into 2001 all kinds of like Crowley references, like 11s and stuff. And I think that when they go to the beacon on the moon, that what do you call it? That what do they call it? The tablet or whatever it is, 11. It's 11 feet tall.
The monolith, yeah.
Yeah. So the monolith is 11 feet tall, and he has all kinds of other stuff in there. So he's clearly, to me, he's illuminated, and it's just incredible. And if you go to, I think, I can't remember, but I'm almost positive that what is it? Oh God, who was the guy who was the director of 2001? Stanley Kubrick. I'm almost positive that in the scene, the ritual scene at the very end, at the part where in Eyes Wide Shut, where there's the guy who's, there's the women and stuff like that. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm trying to bring in a caller. I'm going to add to a guy named Christian Wallace.
All right.
But tell us about the Eyes Wide Shut, what you were saying.
Well, the Eyes Wide Shut, that final scene, the girls, there was 11 girls there.
Right.
So the circle was like Crowley. So he did, and that whole thing was edited very well. I mean, I don't know what happened. It was edited like after the death of Kubrick, but he included all the.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, somebody's calling me. So they edited a lot of stuff out after he died, but like they had the double-headed eagle on the chair, which is all Masonic. But when you're walking in, if you go back and look at the movie, and the door, when it opens, the insignia on the door is a quadruple P. It's the process swastika.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, Christian Wallace, this is William Ranmsey. Listen, Christian, we're recording this, and we're going to put it up on YouTube for an after show.
Right on.
So, watch what you say. Okay.
I'm okay like that.
No, good. What do you got, man?
I wanted to say what I was going to do a little blitz. The reason why so many people, I think, were with the Paradise Lost series, a lot of people, if they saw that, they would have to stop. Metallica did the soundtrack. All the 90s stars pretty much lined up in support, whether it was from Hollywood or the musicians. You had Iggy Pop, Winona Ryder, Johnny Depp, Eddie Vedder, Natalie Maines, et cetera, across the board, every musician. If you want to talk about the Crowley influence, it goes from everything from comic books, from Alan Moore to Grant Morrison. You have key literally to Kinsey, and once you make that Kinsey connection, then Hugh Hefner you get, because Hugh Hefner said he would be Kinsey's pamphleteer. And it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. So if you saw those Paradise Lost, the reason why that case is such a hot button is because it pretty much wipes out every single Hollywood celebrity, going all the way to Peter Jackson, who, with The Lord of the Rings, won 11 Oscars, swept it. I mean, that's the biggest director in Hollywood. I mean, it's all consuming.
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, it's an incredible case. I mean, it's it's really not. I got a picture of Peter Jackson. I'm going to show you guys. This will be a bad.
That's the one who donated all that money too, right?
Yeah. Watch this. Here's this picture. If you can see it on here. So, Eccles covered his body with the Theban alphabet.
Yeah.
And these circular style tattoos did not start with Eccles. They go back into like deep occult history. But upload this JPG I just put on through.
Well, isn't it funny how also the other two guys, Jason and Jesse, both sort of dropped off into obscurity, but Damien all of a sudden does the rounds. It reminded me at the end of Natural Born Killers, where he's literally Robert Downey Jr.'s character says to Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis, he says, we'll go and do the talk show circuits now. And it was, I saw that and it was literally exactly like, he's been on every single show besides the Food Channel.
Yeah,
and, really. And when you talk to people that are, just superficially involved with it or just see the documentaries and stuff, they fall for it like dominoes.
Yeah.
They really just think that they were wrongly convicted, and then it is like a cottage industry, as Sean Wheeler was saying. And then those people that were in that town they didn't know what hit them. This was like unprecedented. This was crazy.
They're all overwhelmed. Yeah, all these guys like Pam Hobbs and stuff like that. They're all overwhelmed, and even Terry Hobbs by what's going on around them and all the money and influence and things. But Jason Baldwin is actually he's doing like a tour, an Innocence Project kind of tour, where he's speaking at different legal groups and stuff like that. So he's out there too. It's Jesse Miskelly who's hiding out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's
the only honest one, so he knows that
Right.
He knows what's going on.
That's right. And he confessed also to his own lawyer, defense attorney, against him protesting, saying, no, don't.
Right.
Well, Christian, he confessed to a friend of mine. True Romance 79 was one of the supporters, and she was dating him when he was in jail, and he confessed to her. This was in like 2003.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But the interesting, that one that you mentioned about his lawyer, that was during the Rule 37 hearing, where they were debating sufficiency of counsel, and, did you represent Miss Kelly right? Well, I was trying to do the best I could because he admitted to me he did,
Yeah.
It's like even his lawyer admits that confession was there.
Wow.
So he was he was just trying to represent his client as best he could, knowing he was guilty.
And they divided the three of them. They put Jesse by himself. Right. And then they put Damien and Jason together, correct? Yeah. Am I right or wrong on that?
Right. No, you're 100% correct.
Your videos are very comprehensive, and on YouTube, I think they really show even some of the stuff that some of the earliest people that were putting videos together that were that had their heads on right about the whole thing. Even some of the stuff they neglected, you got some good clips of him admitting about drinking the blood. His own parents were afraid of him and stuff, and it was so crazy. Oh. And the other thing that it all bleeds to too is it's Hollywood, and then you have this is something you guys touched on that's very important too, to understand the philosophy is with the Prometheus-Lucifer connection. Prometheus is Lucifer. And that's why in Rockefeller Plaza there's a statue of Prometheus giving fire. He stole fire from the gods. That's the illumination of man. That's what they believe in, and they don't believe in punishment for people. They believe that that's vengeful, and they believe in reincarnation, and they have a whole separate set of beliefs. So this is like a very people might dance around it, but this is like a clash of belief when it comes to it. That's why this is so important. It really is that simple.
No doubt.
And
when Eccles tried to commit suicide 5 days after he was arrested, which, his rationale now was like he didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel and all this other mumbo jumbo. But he said, "Don't worry, Mom and Dad, I'm going to be reincarnated." So he has all of the characteristics of the occult, and they're all, it goes. I mean, it's all there. It's all there for people who have the eyes to see and ears to hear. So there's other people that just don't want to hear. So
right.
And then those are people I've realized I can't do anything for. I can only tell the truth as I see it, and the benefit of people. And I feel like it's my responsibility to warn people. There's not just a dangerous person out there, but there's a dangerous group of people who will actually paint the black cauldron white, like something so evil, they're painting it white. So there's a huge group of people that are engaged as accessories to child murder.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's totally evil. It's so rotten. And all of those talk show hosts, of all of them, it was the women on The View who were actually asking the hardest questions. But, all these other weak-minded buffoons and crooks like Piers Morgan and these other ones they just smiled like, "Oh, you were oppressed for 20 years," without asking any real questions.
That's right, and they always do that with him too. They screen the questions, and he's been coached so well. He changed his demeanor. He put on glasses. He cut his hair. And when one reporter went off the script, it totally screwed him up. And he has that line about, "Oh, they wore black T-shirts." But I want to say something that you were going into also on the show that's important too about Harry Hay. Not only was he the first gay rights activist, he also wore the first NAMBLA activist.
Right.
Sure. And what a lot of people don't want to realize and recognize also with that whole thing culturally is that when they killed Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, the black civil rights movement was really derailed. And what happened was that the homosexual, the militant agenda was pushed after that. And a lot of homosexuals were used. A lot of pedophiles that were in that early movement got a hold of that whole civil rights thing, and they started saying, well, gay is the new black, and pushing against...
it goes very deep. It goes very deep because Harry Hay was the organist, playing the organ at the rituals at the lodge, the Satanic lodge, when he first started. But when he started the gay movement, he started something called the Aston Society. This is all acknowledged. Yes. This is all acknowledged by the gay rights movement, that he started a secret society based on a European secret society that would destabilize and move for this gay agenda. And so here he is, already a part of the OTO, and then he becomes part of the Aston Society. But what does he do to make as their banner flag? The rainbow, which has a total dual meaning. It has a meaning like in Christianity or in the Bible, but the other meaning is the rainbow is symbolic of the zodiac.
Right. And the reason that it's twisted too is the rainbow in the Bible was God's pact with humanity that he would never flood the earth again. Right. Because the next time the earth was to be destroyed is to be by fire. So that was God's pact, like saying, after this, terrible, horrible thing happened, that was the beautiful symbol of the aftermath, the covenant right there. And they actually, take that symbol and pervert it.
Yeah, so it's just, Harry Hay, and then he was also kind of a, he became androgynous. He became like
which is part of their religion,
non-sexual roles and stuff like that. He just is absolutely deranged person, pedophile.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So it's just,
the higher level adepts believe that they would actually bound the genitals and then cut them off, and this is going back, into the mystery schools and further back. It gets into the androgyny thing, which is a whole other agenda that's pushed.
Right.
And
let me hit you with a couple of things, guys. Down at Yippie headquarters, okay, Allen Ginsberg, who was a pedophile from the Beat Generation, right. He used to come down all the time. Okay, he was well known down there, and so was Tiny Tim, whose manager, by the way, was Roy Raid. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah, right. And Tiny Tim used to brag about Roy Raiden and says, no one ever messes with me, no one ever doesn't pay me, because my manager is Roy Raiden, okay? And that was way back in the 70s. Now, next door to Yippie headquarters was Dialer Joint, run by Mickey Cesar, who was also a member of NAMBLA. Okay, so you had these two NAMBLA guys, child molesters going around down there. Now, my connection, you talk about how the civil rights movement turned into the gay rights movement, into the pedophile movement, really. And listen to this. Friend of mine, when I used to have a cell phone business, the guy who used to install my cell phones, his dad worked on the Michael Jackson tour that was promoted by Al Sharpton and Michael Francis, the mafia guy who ratted out his own father. And what I was told, this was way before the Geordie Chandler information came out, I was told by these people that Michael Jackson was caught during that Thriller tour molesting little boys, and it was covered up by Al Sharpton and Michael Francis.
Wow.
Wow. Well, on his album cover, you were talking about the Beatles. He had Crowley. A lot of people say, well, it's a butler and you can't really tell. It more than likely was Aleister Crowley. And Michael Jackson was also into channeling, and he had, admittedly, the room where he would supposedly channel Liberace's ghost to give him permission to write his songs. And,
really?
They were all kinds of screwed up. Those kids were.
And, you know the whole story about Liberace's boyfriend. I forget his name right now, but he was at the Wonderland. He was at the Wonderland murders.
Oh, yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, wait a minute. Who didn't know that?
I didn't.
Oh, my God. The guy, the boyfriend, Liberace's boyfriend, who was Michael Jackson's boyfriend as well, he was at the Wonderland. This guy's been involved in everything. He's another one of these guys who's in it. I forget his name.
It's... Oh boy! And he had the face, the surgery, facial reconstruction surgery to look like him. That's right. And he came out after that movie. Just came out with Michael Douglas that they want to give Michael Douglas some accolades for. Scott Dorset.
Right. He was
wow.
He was Michael Jackson's boyfriend, allegedly. Also to a big meth guy, and he was copping meth over there at the house where the Wonderland murders took place. And he was put into the witness protection program because he was testified against that guy, Naj.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just to kind of go back to the Michael Jackson thing and Crowley on the side, it's like a silhouette of Crowley, but that silhouette is actually based upon a picture, and I can get that picture and just overlay it on the copy of the album. And it's clearly Crowley. It's just like somebody copied a picture and put it on there. So denial of these people, or people who are saying that, is either out of ignorance or willfully, trying to cover it up.
Well,
and he has all kinds of stuff. There's a picture of Jackson with 777 down his arm. Even before, other people were involved in the occult in Hollywood, he was one of the first ones. Well, that's one of Crowley's primary books. It's called the Book of Correspondences. It's like the first thing you're supposed to learn in Crowley's thing about all the gods and their different names and how they really are. While the form may be different, the function's the same. It's the same meaning. That's the correspondences. So he had that, and then at the end of Thriller, the video stops and there's an obelisk in the background. I mean, Jackson had it all, and and his manager. What's the other guy's name? What's the guy who produces all his albums?
Michael Jackson's manager? I don't.
Yeah.
Quentin.
His album producer is Quincy Jones. Yeah, he's it's the same thing, like Quincy Jones. There's stories about him too. These guys are all under the surface. It is really dark.
Well,
did you ever read the Michael Jackson police files?
Yeah. Wait, I read the transcripts.
It's a horror show.
Dude, I read the transcripts of Anthony Pellicano negotiating with the parents of Geordie Chandler. And they weren't negotiating to cover that up. They were negotiating. Michael Jackson wanted the kid back. Michael Jackson was in a bedroom with little Geordie Chandler in a 1,200 square foot house, locked in that room for 30 days. They would drop the meals off on a plate in front of the door, knock on the door, walk away. They'd open up the door, bring the food in. They didn't leave that bedroom for 30 days or something, 60 days.
Well, if you want to hear the way that he really speaks, they have these tapes of him calling people, after his dad hit him up and asked him for money on Father's Day, and he talks completely different than he did. He had that he put up for the public. One was for public consumption, and then there was a total other person, probably another personality. But what I was just thinking of that's really important too is that the reason why they all go into these teachings when it comes to Crowley with the 777, that was his Kabbalistic book, right, William?
Correct.
They believe in the thought, desire, action, or the sigil magic, and they teach it to everyone. And whether it's the band 311 or all of them have do it now. Well, they actually believe. Grant Morrison. This is so important with comic books because they're becoming so ubiquitous with film. Grant Morrison was giving a speech. He's like the heir apparent to William Alan Moore, and that stuff really works. And he goes, and I want to teach all you guys this stuff. And he said, you think of something that you want. He said, you desire it, and then it will come about. And the reason why it works with the illustrators and the comic books and stuff is because they make a sigil, and the things that they come up with in their heads, they actually draw it, and they believe they're manifesting this stuff into reality. And they teach it to everyone. And it's a philosophy that caters to your ego. It tells you that you can control reality, and it's just as simple, and it's as old as I just don't know why Crowley is the one. He must have been MI5 or MI6, because no matter what realm you go into, whether it's entertainment or JPL or L. Ron Hubbard, across the board, he was so looked up to and looked at.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, did any of your research?
He was definitely British intelligence of some type of office. I don't know which one.
And the swastika was not German. Swastika was Theosophical Society.
Right.
That was the Theosophy with Hitler too. That was a whole other thing. I mean, that movie From Hell that Johnny Depp was in, when he says, "They'll say I gave birth to the 20th century." I also in the Harry Potter movies, he says that you were saying how accurate those were, and Occultist said yes, those movies were very accurate. They had a character called Alistair, and they changed his name to Mad Eye through a bunch of the films that he was in, because I think it was a little too obvious.
Gotcha.
They had in the original Addams Family, which is a play on words. The little girl's name was Tuesday, which was Tuesday Wells, who was a Druid priestess. They used priestesses. She was 13. That's where the Beatles song "Stupid Blood Tuesday." Right. The lyrics are all straight out of Magic and Theory and Practice. When it says "I am the walrus," he plagiarized lyrics straight out of the book. So they changed her name from Tuesday to Wednesday Addams, and Uncle Fester was originally Uncle Alistair.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, getting back to Arthur C. Clarke, though, what do you think of all that stuff about him molesting those kids down in it was India, right? Or Sri Lanka? Arthur C. Clarke.
Oh, yeah. No, that's all true. Yeah.
They had to turn around and not give him the knighthood at the time, I believe. They were flying over, and he wrote the article for the newspaper, and I think it was Sri Lanka. And he was saying something about consensual relationships between young adults, and older gentlemen. And they still ended up, giving him the honor and everything. But yeah, he was a creepy guy. And
that's why he moved to Sri Lanka. He was in Sri Lanka because it's permissive. It's a pedophile permissive.
Well, there was a documentary about him before these accusations came out of him in Sri Lanka, and they showed him with a bunch of little boys running around, knocking on the door to his house, and he lived in a dump down there too. It wasn't even a nice place.
Yeah, it's amazing. When you get into the lives of some of these people who are famous, it's it's disturbing how little real journalism has been out there. You know.
Mm-hmm.
The media is controlled by the same people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 5 companies.
Yeah.
If that, where it pretty much consolidates the points that it gets consolidated at. And then what they do is they have, the people's champions like Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. And they make the movie, and in the movie the kid is, so smart, he's outsmarting everybody else, and he just can't sit there, and he's got to get back because network that, DARPA was really working on years before, and, it's just, it's the weirdest one is when you look into Stanley Kubrick, because the guy knew, and it's funny because he put it all in the films, and you'd think he would have come out and said some of the things. His daughter was taken into Scientology, and that was kind of the reason why he got Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman to be in there in the last movie. It goes over into the whole, stuff with Arthur C. Clarke. He totally eviscerated the script from The Shining. Everything in his movies that he changes from the book to the film is where he's telling you something that,
Well, didn't
he really wants to look
Didn't
at.
he go live in a house with a moat around it?
Yeah, like he became a recluse in England.
Yeah, there was a moat around his house.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys, they get to the point, they get so scared, they just don't even come out in public anymore. I mean, I can understand. They realize that there's something dark out there.
Yeah.
But, all his stuff, he knew a lot. I mean, you look at even Clockwork Orange, the motif of the eye and the triangles right there in the, poster. You've got the eye on the wrist of the central character poking through a triangle. This is very important occult symbolism.
And he gave approval for that. That was all of his he had the last word on everything. Whenever it came to creative control. So he made sure that was highlighted. And the other thing that's in there that's very important that a lot of people haven't put together is the wig motif. The weird, like Katy Perry will wear them, the pink wigs, Britney Spears, the blue ones, the weird colors like that that go on. That's very ubiquitous when it comes to that sort of stuff in the MK Ultra too. And he was highlighting that all the way back in 73, I think it was, that the movie came out. And then was subsequently banned in that he had pulled from the theaters while he was alive. It wasn't to be shown in England until he died.
Interesting.
Frank Sinatra was supposed to be in that movie. Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, and he was in The Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And the actors and actresses, the last names fit. It was Janet Leigh, right? You had Harvey, so it was like Lee, Harvey, and Oswald.
Wow,
you had all the names that fit into the killers of the Kennedys. If you take there's some crazy connections when you really, go down certain avenues with some of this stuff. Oh, that's what I would say. Woody Harrelson's dad.
Right.
With the three hobos in the Kennedy assassination. That was his father.
Right.
And then he tried breaking out of prison. He was in a federal maximum. And then Woody Harrelson makes a joke in White Men Can't Jump. For no reason, it's in total non sequitur. It has nothing to do with the movie. His girlfriend in the hotel is looking at an almanac to go on Jeopardy. And he goes, presidents or whatever, or assassins. And he says, oh, it wasn't me, it was the CIA. And then he goes, get it? Oswald Ruby.
Yeah.
And it's this stupid joke that they just, shoehorn in.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, those guys were all there with Sturgis, Harrelson, and E. Howard Hunt.
My get... Oh,
Yes.
okay, I can't tell you this. I'm sorry, I'm recording. I got a good one. I got a guy coming on who's going to talk about his connections with Sturgis. It's going to be real good stuff.
Sturgis's real name was Frank Farini.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He was an Italian mob guy, yeah, look it up. Sturgis, that's a cover.
Well, he's had other arrests, man. He has all kind of arrests and scams he's been doing,
It's all over. Have you ever heard of a guy named Ole Damagard?
Yeah, I like him. Now, he has a...
He knows what he's talking about. He is very well schooled. He's put a lot of stuff together, but just from a European perspective and other hits they had out there, like Olaf Palme, which was totally suspicious.
Right.
You know, these assassins it's incredible what these guys did and what they were involved in, and you know, the international intrigue is just off the charts.
Wait a second, you know that guy Ole, right? He has a story about a witness to that assassination that went on over there, and one of the witnesses to this assassination is the guy who had kept the women prisoner in his house, and had children with his own daughters and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was the Austrian guy, right?
Yeah.
But so didn't it turn out that he was a fake witness?
Right. He was a witness, and they kind of poo-pooed him and said,
he was like a paid fake witness to, like, you know, turn the story or whatever. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff going on with this Ariel Castro thing. I've been doing a lot of work on this behind the scenes and talking to the PI. There's a lot of stuff in that case, man. There was another neighbor who was just arrested for rape and murder. Yeah, man. There's so much. I'm talking to this PI, and his client is the Ariel Castro's ex-wife hooked up with this new guy. Ariel Castro had this guy arrested for a child molesting. He used his own daughter as a witness against this guy, and the last person to be seen with one of these girls, I think was McKnight, was Ariel Castro's daughter. There's a lot of stuff that went on behind the scenes in that case. Plus, there was, thousands of dollars found in Ariel Castro's washing machine. And even during the hearing, when he's being sentenced, he says, okay, I'm going to give up the $20,000 in my washing machine. But he says, but, Your Honor, there was a lot more money than that.
Yes.
It was a lot more.
You know? Yes, that's right.
So the cops took it or something?
Probably all of them took it, I'm sure. But where did he get all his cash from? The guy was a bus driver.
Yeah.
Right, that's right.
He was renting stuff out, or he was doing something.
Oh, so yeah, something was going on. But these girls, you don't hear them coming out saying anything else. Very strange. The whole thing's very strange.
Then they kind of paraded them around for a little bit. But then, you're right, don't really hear anything. You see the resurfaces, especially here, because I'm in Florida, the resurfacing of George Zimmerman. But I kind of knew that would happen because the pressure and all the stuff that with that whole thing, even, the biggest saint in the world wouldn't be able to, I don't think, bear the. There's a narrative, let's just say, that the media uses, and they. Boy, this one's hard to illustrate without a visual. They did They do a thing with a code. They did one where there was a disco in the 70s. There was a riot when they were doing the anti-disco things, and they were burning the records. And the news took a picture of a couple in the middle of a riot, or a big fight on, and there was a guy kissing a girl, and they said, well, that's odd. This guy is on top of this girl, and they're in the middle of all this chaos. And all these years later, there was another, like Occupy Wall Street or something, similar, riot was going on where police and protesters were fighting, and it was the same guy and the same girl photoshopped into the picture. And the news picked it up and said, oh, this is kind of odd. This guy and this girl are making out in the middle of a riot. What is this? So someone who had seen the original picture overlaid the photo, and it was the same couple from the 70s. And that's how they passed codes. I think what they were trying to say was the guy might have been the police and the girl might have been the protesters. And what they were trying to say was, okay, this is who has the upper hand. And it was just like put in. I'll have to find the video. It's really hard to explain it. But it was on the news. And Fox News actually stopped. And Fox is 666 news, by the way. And, they do things like that with number codes, and, they can do things editing in digital in real time. I mean, it gets really crazy.
Well, wait a second, guys. Did you ever see the video, the Dallas Goldbug? Dallas Goldbug, I think, is a nut. But,
yes.
Yeah. But have you seen the ones he's done on Occupy Wall Street where there is a staged fight between the police and the protesters?
Yeah.
No. I haven't.
He started out with good stuff, and then it's like he purposely went over the top and started saying the creators of South Park did the Columbine. It was almost like he purposely discredited. But I know what story that you're talking about. It's oh man, the media stuff is the best because all they cover is tabloid stuff. If you watch, you pick HLN, CNN, whichever one. I mean, with the green screening, they caught Anderson Cooper when he turned his head with the Sandy Hook, and his nose got cut off by the green screen. I've worked with green screen in those big rooms with motion capture and stuff, and he wasn't even there. They even had, going way back to the first Gulf War, they were pretending on the satellite. I made a YouTube video about it, where the guy in between commercials was playing around, smoking cigarettes, and pretending that he was actually, hiding, and there was a bomb, and there was air raids. He wasn't in Iraq. He was pretending to be.
Yeah.
It's a pretty famous video now. I mean, when you see that level of lies and deceit coming from CNN going all the way back, and then showing what the kind of technology they have now that they can do in real time, nothing that you're seeing they can fake anything they want. And really what they do is they use the news to, there's all kinds of number codes and things. There's a 369 number code. And if you read what Nikola Tesla said about 369, the numbers, he said you can unlock the keys to the universe, and it gets really esoteric after that. But you'll find the same numbers that crop up. It starts to get into like John Nash, Beautiful Mind, weirdness territory there. From that movie where he starts to pick things out. I mean,
I don't have this fascination with numbers and stuff like that. I really can't. I don't appreciate the significance of it. Like, I understand it exists, but I don't see what's going on with it.
Well, I'm not saying I'm a numerologist or anything. No, I just mean that if they believe in it, it's in there. They'll make sure and say 33 dead, and they'll stop the clock at the Super Bowl so that, or they'll flash a thing in a movie at 3:22. You know what I mean? Like, they're really into their numbers. And remember when the baseball game was
William, why do you think that is, William? What is it with these numbers? What is this?
Yeah. It's not the numbers. It's what the numbers represent. That's the whole thing. Is like they did like 3:22. You shall be as gods or whatever. And it's like that's what's important for them to flash to people, to their own people, without saying, "Hey, this is what we mean." Just like 93, 11, 77, 175 to people in the know, they got it. They put it all together. We know what you're saying. The outsiders and the non-initiates, you're just you're chaff. You don't get squat.
Right.
So that's it's about meaning, and it's not the numbers themselves. It's what they reference.
And the other thing that's important too that they do, you brought up how Damien would use hand signs on the news when they would ask him certain questions. The other thing people will do in rooms too is if a Mason wants to acknowledge another Mason, they'll stand in a certain way, like they'll put their heels together in a triangle shape so that another Mason can go up and recognize them.
Right.
I mean, there's everything. Body language.
If you want to see an interesting example of that, there's an old picture of Churchill when he was arrested in South Africa when he was younger, and some reason he just flat out escaped or he got away. But he's sitting there in line with everybody, and he's making the Masonic that exact same stance.
Really?
And this is way before his career even took off. So he was a chosen one from a very early age. So he had the Masonic thing there. But it's so obvious. Everybody else is like standing around casually, and there he is with his feet in the
Entered Apprentice, I think.
Yeah, the Entered Apprentice. Guys, I gotta run. It's been a long
William,
chat.
Yeah, me too, man. Yeah, we got a good after show.
Hi, guys. Thanks so much.
Wait, William, give us your blog, your links, and your books. You there? Everybody left. Okay.
Take care, Ed. I appreciate it.
Oh, Christian's there. Yeah, okay, brother. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. I hung up on you there by mistake. I didn't mean to. I gotta get the hang of it. All right, bro. Take it easy.
Oh, that's okay. I'll catch you.